I got light on. I guess it wants to stay on. Alright, this is Ronnie. I just been test driving my Kia car. I got the idle air control valve. Well, yeah, it's not really, well, they call it a valve, but some got a needle and some got a cylinder. This one has a cylinder that turns and opens the holes bigger. You hear how fast this thing is idling right now? It's doing what it's supposed to. If you look at my old video, it was herky-jerking. You know, I do have a bad motor mount, but I knew it was idle air control valve because it wouldn't idle up and about died. Now listen to it. You hear that? This puppy's idling at 1,600 RPM, 1,600 RPMs, and I'm going to tell you why. Well, yeah, there's some tricks. Now watch. It will hold that idle, okay? I'm going to turn on my big giant lights. She'll hold that idle. The computer's doing what it's supposed to. Now I'm going to turn on my fan. Get all my rattles in the car. She's staying right there, okay? That idle air control valve is moving, but here's the kicker. And like, well, why is it right at like 1,600 RPMs? I've been driving it and make it simple. Okay. If I shut it off, now you hear it. It's running wide open. If I put it in gear, I gotta show you if I put it in gear 2. Hit the brakes. It'll back down and no herky-jerky, no nothing. But yeah, it's idling about 500 RPM faster than what it should. No herky-jerky, no nothing. But it's still idling faster once I put it in park with a load on it. That is, okay, I'm going to turn it off here quick because that's going to drive people nuts. It's running 600. I want to explain this to you quick. If you have a problem with your car idling and it's over at 98 on up, this could be the problem and nobody's going to tell you. Okay, there, I shut it off. All right, it's idling about 1,600 instead of 1,000 with an automatic, okay? Oh, I can show you quick too where it's at. Every vehicle, I don't know, the brand new ones, maybe not. Yeah, but, you know, anywhere from 98 to 2010 had an idle air control valve. I popped the hood, I'll show you quick. But here's what's happening, okay? I had the car down. I spray cleaned the old one again when I had it all tore apart, and then it sat for 2 weeks when I got COVID. It locked it up tight. Because it just, I don't like 600, and the computer, in the meantime, is still trying to make it move and turn, but it ain't turning. But it's a 98 OBD2, I can't even see live data on it, okay? So, it's just going from memory, from the computer is staying the memory where the old one that was stuck, and what it did, well, I drove it every day, what it did to keep the motor running, but it doesn't have enough information to know that that one wasn't even moving anymore, let alone to know I have a brand new one. So the computer, since I changed it, I didn't unhook the battery, okay? This is how you fix stuff on the older ones, and you can't use any memory saver. You're going to lose all your memory in your radio. If you got a Lincoln on these up to like 04, you got to kill the battery because they're not, I don't know, I don't have a computer, $1,000 one. I'm thinking about buying, but I don't want to play with this stuff. But yeah, if I got enough people who'd be interested in having me fix stuff, I might spend $1,000 on a scanner where I can talk to it back and forth, see all the data, and make it move, and I can see if this is moving or if the other one wasn't. Oh yeah, but I don't know if I want to work on stuff, or I don't know. I'm thinking about just maybe going to spring and working on vehicles, you know, that I know how to do, not the heavy duty stuff, but, you know, and help people out. This is a $20 part, okay? The idle air control valve, yeah, they want 70. Okay, here's how it works. This is why it's still idling so fast. Because the computer, I did not unhook the battery, okay? Once it's been stuck when I had the battery out when I was pulling the transacts and all that thing, and it still has the memory in it. And I can clear codes and stuff, but I can't clear the memory of the computer. And I took the old one out that was stuck, where the computer was used to making it run halfway correct as best it could do by over-voltaging everything back and forth to keep the engine running, which the computer, but it wasn't moving, so then it would just kind of flooded out, but it always kept running. But that's where the herky-jerky just overloading fuel and no air, because it's supposed to give more fuel and more air when you put a load on it, like turn on a fan or the alternator kicks on, or you put it in gear backing up. It'll, or you hit your brakes at a stoplight. It'll add more fuel because there's more load because it's not coasting, but it needs to open the valve for more air to burn that fuel. It's putting the fuel in, but it wasn't opening the air valve to get more air, so it's like blah, 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 blah. Okay, you get it? All right. Now, it's set. The computer's still sending the message to that controller. When everything's working fine, here's where it should be. Because I left the battery hooked up. I'm not going to do it tonight. It's fine. 1600 ain't no big deal going to work and back. Tomorrow it'll be warmer. And I'm going to hook the battery for not 5 minutes. I'm going to lose all my memory and everything on all my radio stuff. I'm going to hook the battery for 1 hour, snowflakes. Because there's capacitors and stuff that control everything that will backfeed into, if you unhook your battery. And, oh yeah, electricity and DC and anything doesn't travel from positive to negative. It travels from negative to positive. Au contraire, what everybody's been taught, if you go check it out, electronical physics, real facts. Current from a battery travels, the electrons travel from negative to positive. All right? I knew that 30 years ago, and that's why you always, if you have an electrical problem, always go look at the ground first, because it runs from negative and everything runs from ground. Then it goes back to the positive and all the controls that are on the positive side, but you get it. Okay, I want to show you where this is at before I start it. Idle air control valve, $20 part. I'm trying to make this fast too, but I can't. I talk too fast. Shit, snowflakes can't hang with me for 2 minutes. Okay, I'm doing this one-handed, but I got my light on. See if I can find the knobby. All right, look at it. I'm getting better. I'm using my head to hold up the hood while I do this. Idle air control valve. Fuel injected. This is all fuel injected with fuel injection rail and all the stuff. But where your intake comes in, first when you come out of the air box, there's your MAF. I don't know what MAF, mass airflow sensor, is right there. Got to make sure air box, make sure the filter's clean. Runs into, and then there's when you hit the throttle like this. Oh, I'll probably flood it. But if I hit this, now it's all computer controlled there too. No cable, fly-by-wire like my Lincoln. Opens that big round. Like a carburetor, that big flapper. They still use them, even if they're fuel injected. All right, this is the throttle position sensor that knows where this is at. So when I'm moving this, then this, if it's closed, this is the idle air control valve. And see the little tubies? There's 2 tubes formed in where my finger's pointing, right there and there. That's in and out. And this valve turns and lets air through. And then it hits a passage which goes behind that big flapper, okay? And it was stuck. It was stuck, 470,000, can't complain. It was stuck in 1AO, and that's it. But that's where your idle air controller is if you got a 4-cylinder usually, but you always got your flapper yet. I don't know about direct injection. Do not have a direct fuel injection automobile, they carbon up so bad because there ain't no air and gas going together. This is air. This is direct injection, half-assed. From 98, they were pretty close, but no, you still got the fuel air, and they pump some fuel into here, too. There you go. But yeah, that's where it's at. $20, 2 screws, pain in the ass, but I got them. But now watch, I haven't, because the computer, I shut it off. I got to get this down without busting my butt. But the way to fix that is to unhook the battery up for about an hour, okay? Which I will do. Friday, Christmas Eve, I guess we're not working. But now watch, okay? Theoretically, this thing should start back up at a correct idle. It probably won't even idle it up. It's just going to start at a certain RPM, and it has just a regular load, no lights, no nothing on, and it should idle pretty much where it's supposed to. But then the computer still has the memory of when it's under load with fans, headlights, all that, and that's where it's staying because I've never disconnected the battery. Once you disconnect the battery for an hour, everything goes to default, and then the computer is told that it's all been dead. We need to start recalibrating, and then the brains in the computer, whatever much amount of brains they got, will start recalculating and learning how the thing's running and adjust for like 100 miles, sometimes 200. We'll keep adjusting everything to make it work most efficient. But first you have, basically like you're pushing the reset button. You know, on anything electronic. Oh, here's this. If it ain't working, push your computer. Shut it down for a night. Totally kill all the power to it. And then restart it and totally reset it. Not just hit, turn off and restart. No, that don't work. You got to kill all the juice to it. Now watch. We'll see what happens. I'm curious. I'm thinking it's going to probably start up and idle about right. Let's see. Oh, I got the fan on. I don't want no extra loads on nothing. Oh, got the radiator fan going. Well, we're going to start it. I don't think it's going to idle that fast. There you go. There's normal idle. 1100. It was at 1200, and now it's backing down to 1100, 1000. No herky-jerky. Now I'm going to turn on the fan, suck some electricity. Here it pulled out. It pulled down. If I shut my mouth. Look, and the alternator is charging. Now the alternator is charging because I turned the fan ring on, so it's bringing the idle up. It shouldn't go any higher than that after I even turn on these giant lights. It should hold it up there. That's the start sequence for computers, because when you start electricity and then if you turn everything on at once, it's got to bring the idle up so your RPMs and stuff stay correct, so your alternator stuff charges. But yeah, there you go. Yeah, Christmas Eve day or Christmas Day, I will unhook my battery up for an hour and then hook it all up, and then just check for any codes, which I don't have any codes because I cleared them all when I put it all back together from ancient problems, and never had any codes. And the Kia was 471,000 miles now almost. Will do correctly. You hear that? It's moving. You hear that up and down, that's the alternator and stuff kind of hitting up and down, but that's the idle moving up to take that load, okay? It's working right, it's all moving, it just isn't in the right AO of the parameters because it's still going off the old parameters when it was stuck. There you go. All right, love you, peace, love, have a heart, love y'all, man. I just want, it's a simple fix on certain vehicles, like a whole bunch of them. All the way back, my 88 Ranger's got one that's just hooked on the outside of the airbox with rubber hoses and gave me problems. But yeah, it's not idling fast. It's idling instead of 1100, it's like 1250, I can tell with my own ears, because I got a full load on it and the battery, I'm pulling electricity up the yang. Okay? But if you don't ever notice any, well, I said, it's still going by the old stuff, the old computer. I'm going to have to pull the negative or positive, whichever one. Negative is easier, because if you bump, they always tell you, I'll pull the positive because that's the last in line, is what I'll pull. But the reason every manual stuff says take the negative cable off is because if you're a fucking idiot, pardon my language, and you got a wrench on a positive cable and it's tight and you're unhooking the positive and you hit any part of the body or the motor, anything with that wrench, boom, you got a dead short through your battery and it's going to spark and poof. And you know a bunch of you have done it and it's going to go poofy because you bump wrench and poof. And then it could blow up the battery in your face. The negative theoretically will not spark, okay? But that's a lie. But if you hit negative to negative metal, the whole body is grounded negative first, because that's the way electricity travels. See, there's my proof. Go negative, and if you put a wrench on a negative and touch it to the body, ain't going to make a spark. Put it on a positive, touch the body, it's going to spark. Well, there's proof that it starts from negative, goes through negative. You're hitting right where it starts. There's no short circuit. That's common sense 35 years ago, and I knew it. Now they actually admit it. Electricity travels from negative to positive. You'll short circuit once you're through the negative part to the positive side. Cool breeze. Well, there you go. No more shaky. But I do have a broken motor mount. It finally showed up today. I'll get after that this weekend too. Oh, now my garage door won't want to open up. Come on, I was just talking. I got to go get the wheel and the stuff to fix the garage door tomorrow. But yeah, there you go. No shaky. Idle picks up. Hanging loose. All good. Ew, tight spot. It's going to get down to like 9 degrees tonight. I got to get this baby in there. But yeah, there you go. Watch my stuff. That should be perfectamundo. Close the door and then keep the engine heat in. Yeah, see how it idled up again? And even if I turn the lights off, it's just going to idle up. And fan off, it's going to stay there because that was where it used to stay at basically max idle, open position. Because I haven't unhooked the battery, and that's what the old one was stuck, so that's what the computer tried to do. So if I chill the juice the computer for an hour, it'll reset everything, and it'll run okay, but like crappy, and do all kinds of weird stuff for 100 or 200 miles on this 98 OBD2. And then it'll all work itself out, and then it'll go into the lockdown mode where it just keeps that memory. There you go, man. I love you. Take care. I will be back if God and the angels let me. Hope this is informative to some of you anyway. I will be back. I'll see you tomorrow. Well, maybe not. I hope I don't have to make a video tomorrow. I can take a little time off after work. Alright, I'll talk to you later. I will see you later. Ciao.